How ya all, Wyrm here. The Watcher is one of the more mysterious characters we have met during the Endwalker storyline. Described as an ally by Hydaelyn, the Watcher quickly aids us in our mission, as we do in his. In this video, we'll explore the full lore of the Watcher as we know it. The video will be in two sections. Part 1 will go over everything we know about the Watcher from our in-game interactions. Afterwards, in Part 2, we will go into full theory mode and piece together everything to paint a clear picture of him as much as we can. Let's begin. We first learn of our ally on the moon from Hydaelyn when she asks us to seek him out. The Watcher greets us immediately upon our arrival on Mir Lamentorum. When we meet face to face, the Watcher states he's been preoccupied for some time, to the extent that he's out of practice when it comes to conversation, which goes to explain his first greeting. He goes on to introduce himself as the Watcher, and that he serves as an integral part of the moon created by Hydaelyn. The Watcher's primary purpose is to serve as jailer to Zodiark, maintaining responsibility for him as well as the devices that make up his prison. Namely the 6 sword brands that act as shackles for the strongest primal in existence. The Watcher goes on to state a brief history of his work and the one under his charge. Of the 5 brands that Fandaniel destroyed, the Watcher restored 1 and asked us to aid him in restoring the rest. Sadly, this ended in failure when Xenos destroyed the last brands, thus awaking Zodiark from his long slumber. After we managed to defeat Zodiark in combat, the Watcher was prepared to seal him away once more, along with Fandaniel, until the latter ended Zodiark with his own hand, thus undoing the laws of nature which he maintained. Shortly afterwards, as we bore witness to an omen of the fall of Aetheris, the Watcher came to our aid. He saw this vision as we did, stating it was an omen granted by the Echo. The Watcher was weakened by his attempts to reseal Zodiark, but after a brief respite, was well enough to inform us about the true nature of the final days which befalls the world once more. He also shared what information he could about the original before the Sundering. Alongside that, he divulged information about the Sundering itself. After our talk, the Watcher bids us to find more allies of Hydaelyn, stating that she made plans in the event of Zodiark's demise. Specifically, that the moon not only served as a prison, but also a ship capable of bearing Aetheris' denizens to safe harbour. He bid us go speak to the pilots of this ship, the Loporrits, stating that he would be fulfilling his last duty as Watcher in the Dark. A short while later, we encounter him again during our interactions with Livingway & Co., taking an interest in the flower Hydaelyn asked we carry. Our last interaction with him was after the events of Ultima Thule, and the end of the Song of Oblivion. He states the Loporrits filled him in on all the events that happened, and that it was a relief that Hydaelyn's wish for Aetheris was granted against all odds. He goes on to say that her spirit shall live on, so long as life continues on Aetheris. And that's the full story as we know it about the Watcher. However, through our dialogue, he gave us a lot of information, so we can piece together a picture of his existence in the next part of this video. Per the title of this video, the question is, who is the Watcher? There's no one answer to this question, but we have a fair few theories given our interactions and the Watcher's own dialogue. First off, he states that ever since the moon was created by Hydaelyn, he has served as an integral part, that being acting as Zodiark's jailer. It wasn't stated how the Watcher came to be, however, given that his appearance is very similar to the shades inhabiting Emet-Selch's Amarok recreation. Many would first assume the Watcher was a similar creation but more advanced. However, the dialogue of the Watcher would seem to dispute this. As the Watcher tells us the tale of the original final days, his words carry the weight of one who was present to witness those events. The way he describes the events that transpired, it paints a picture of one who witnessed the events firsthand, not one reading another's account through written word or passed down story. It's very possible that the Watcher was a being who survived the Sundering, similar to how the likes of Emmett Selk did. If not that, then he was a being who was resurrected by Hydaelyn to serve the purpose of Watcher. Given the memories he possesses and his dialogue, this seems to be the most likely case. A great argument for this theory is what happens after Zodiark is defeated. The Watcher explains that what we saw was an omen granted by the Echo, and the Watcher himself saw it just as we did. This suggests to us that the Watcher is also gifted with the Echo. But let's say this is the answer, and that the Watcher was an ancient from Amarot. Who was he in that past life? Let's think about it. The Watcher was given no small duty. He was given full control over Zodiark's prison, and indeed the keys to the lock, meaning he could open it at any time he wanted. This isn't a duty you'd give to just anybody. Hydaelyn would have given this duty to one she trusted, one who could see that duty through to the end. The question though is who? When I first started researching this topic, my primary thought is that the Watcher was a recreation of Azem. But I dismissed this idea once I learned more about the Watcher's personal nature and his past. I also toyed with the idea of him being one of Azem's soul shards similar to us, but I highly doubt this would have escaped Emmett Selk's notice, as we know the Ascians were no strangers to the moon. A very real possibility is that the Watcher was a friend of Ana back in those days. We know she made a great many of them in her time. Even more likely is it could be one of the Ancients that sided with her against the Convocation's plans, or even an ally that aided with the summoning of Hydaelyn. Whatever the answer may be, it's clear that the Watcher is someone who lived through those days, and exists now either as an unsundered, or a soul that was once sundered and reincarnated. I think the Watcher's role in the story isn't finished yet as well. Think back on this line of dialogue. Rather than stating this was his last duty, it's more of him stating that this was his last duty in the shadows. But he's now stepping into the light to end aid however he can, or even pursue a new course in life. But there you go, the Watcher on the moon. I hope you enjoyed this latest video. Be sure to leave a comment with your personal take on the Watcher. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and even subscribe to stay informed about my future videos if you want to. Thanks all, and now, as always, have a good one.